Holla. Hey, I remember to turn the microphone on. It's just getting silly. T'Challa, yes. When people watch the beginning of this, they're going to wonder, what the hell are they talking about? Play the damn intro. Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way, but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, yours truly, Dawg Knight. And stop that music and start some new music. Good morning. Yes, I got the music going right away this morning. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, yours truly, Marty, a.k.a. Dawg Knight on the Dawg Knight channel. How are we doing today? Did everyone have a good weekend? I certainly hope you did. I had a decent weekend. It was, melancholy in the fact that we drove from the Twin Cities to Hibbing, Minnesota. Fascinating trip. I hadn't spent any time in Hibbing, but on Thursday we went to Hibbing to take my father-in-law's ashes up there, and then they buried him on Friday, and then me, my wife, and my two kids just went up there so we could show them where he's buried, because we didn't all the funeral stuff happened a while ago. And then we went to just see his hometown. We got to see where my kids' grandparents lived and went to go eat at one of the local places where you can get a really good burger. And then we also just, when we go to little towns, we always try to find something interesting to see in each one of them. And so we went and saw, in Hibbing, Minnesota, there's a Greyhound bus museum, because that's where Greyhound, the bus company, originated, in Hibbing, Minnesota. Now, we didn't go to the museum. We just drove kind of through the lot and checked out the back lot where they had a bunch of old buses sitting back there. It was kind of cool seeing old, passenger buses. And then we also went to the world's largest open pit mine, okay, and it's they call it the Grand Canyon of the North in Hibbing, Minnesota. It's this giant mine. You can go up. There's some observation towers, and you can go. They have a one of those gigantic dump trucks. I mean, literally, the tire tread. I could stand up in the tire and not even be. Still not fill it up, because they're the tires are 15 feet tall. Just the tires are 15 feet tall, and then the truck is just massive. And it was just cool. It was kind of a cool thing to see. I took some video, and we'll have some interesting shots of that coming up. So that was pretty cool. And then and then, like I said, we just it was a nostalgic trip. Where we, it was cool hanging out with my kids. It's I think it's the first time really where, since my kids left for college, that all four of us just hung out for the day. So that was kind of fun, because my daughter just will be turning 25 in a couple months here. My son's turning 23 in a couple weeks. And, it was just interesting spending time with our kids. And I think the last time we did it was when we went to Las Vegas together. So, it was cool. So anyway, let's see. Yes, the Hockey Hall of Fame in Eveleth. We've driven by that quite a few times. My mother-in-law lived in Virginia, Minnesota, or she went back to live for Virginia, Minnesota for 6-7 years. So we used to drive up there, and we'd drive by the Hockey Hall of Fame quite a few times. And let's see, what am I reading here? Let's see. Oh yeah, there's a. Wait, where? Duck Dog? Where's this mine? Oh yeah, no, that's the mine we went to, Duck Dog. And then also, Sheograth knows about Evelyn Chisholm, where Moonlight Graham was from. I'm not sure who Moonlight Graham was. Huh. I guess I'll have to find out who that was. Also, D.I. Freighter planning a trip to Duluth. Been trying for years You know what a great place to watch. Now, DI Freighter Watcher loves watching giant ships move in and out of the harbor. And in Duluth, they have a giant lift bridge. And in fact, I think, did I send you that video, DI Freighter? I got to send you that video because I have a video of a 700 or 800 foot freighter leaving the bay through the lift, under the lift bridge. So you see the whole lift bridge goes up and down, and this giant 700 foot freighter coming out. It's really fun, cool to watch. And then also there's a couple lighthouses there. It's a really cool place, Duluth. And you know what, DI, here's something else you should do. If you go to Duluth, Minnesota, travel up the North Shore. So, you can hang out, right there in Duluth where the freighters and stuff come out, and they have the lift bridge, but also go up to the North Shore. And there's about, along there, I think there's 9 waterfalls between Duluth. 9 really significant waterfalls between Duluth and Thunder Bay, Canada. And that's a trip my wife and I are going to do sometime soon. So anyway, so that's about my weekend. Yesterday we watched football and then sat around the house all day and did nothing. Although I should have probably mowed my lawn and closed the pool, but whatever. I'll get to that this week. Anyway, good morning, everybody. Let's say hi real quick before we get into the news. Sheograth gets the bell for being first. Oh, that kind of missed it. Did you hear the bell? There's the bell. Good morning, Tyler F. Let's get down here. Duck Dog, Max Del Rio, the gayest person on YouTube. DI Freighter, Maddie. And I think that's everybody who's in the chat so far. There's a few people out there lurking too. Welcome if you're here. So I know some of you watch at work. Some of you listen while you're driving. Be safe if you're driving, okay? Don't spend time trying to just prove to me that you're here. So, let's get into the news. Well, the title of my stream today is "Oops, I Did It Again." And that is in reference to Adam Schiff. Now, so as we talked about on Friday, there was some news, and they were talking about how, hello, Truck and Bear. There was some news about how there was a whistleblower that was trying to get some information to the House committee a couple different House committees, Oversight Committee, which is led by Adam Schiff. And apparently this whistleblower said something that President Trump was trying to pressure the president of Ukraine to get some dirt on Joe Biden, blah, 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 blah. Okay, we've been hearing it all weekend. Well, guess what, kids? We're going to talk about today because that is it's one of the 2 biggest topics over the weekend. And then the other big one was people looking for climate justice. Climate justice. Now, I'm becoming annoyed with something here, and before we get into anything, I'm becoming annoyed with something. For some reason now, all of a sudden, anytime you have a cause, all you have to do is put the word justice behind it, and that will make it something more important. Not like climate's not important, because it's important, and I'm wary of the hysteria over it, but yes, climate is important. But now there's they had the big strike, right? The big strike on Friday. And that was after, obviously, I had ended my show. So the big strike over the weekend, and then now there's some stuff going on in D.C. this morning that we'll get to too. But this whole thing about climate justice. Can I take climate to court? I don't know. Good morning, Irish Rose. All right, let's get into it though, because I got a whole bunch of stories to get through. Plus, we got to get into Twitter trends like we do every day. So, let's start with Adam Schiff though, because I think Adam Schiff may have made a mistake in making a huge deal about this deal with the Ukrainian, the Trump talking to the Ukrainians, okay? And let me I'm going to read something just real quick that kind of sums up everything that we're doing here today regarding Adam Schiff. Let's see. Let's take a second here. What happened to it here? I moved it and now it's gone. Okay, here we go. Let's just read this thing. Congressman Adam Schiff, not Shift. He's a little shifty, but his Schiff, Adam Schiff. Okay. Congressman Adam Schiff, to experience the deep void, look into his eyes, has fallen into a trap in which he aims at the president and wounds his party's frontrunner, Joe Biden, instead. It's not my imagination. MSN's Chris Hayes tweets, quote, I'm watching this turn into something. This turned into a story about Biden, and I'm going to pass out. Chris Hayes is not happy about this. There's also a very strong similarity between Schiff's inconsistent lies about the Mueller investigation and the phony Russian collusion story and the effort to remove the president for trying to repair. What the hell did I just do? Sorry. Excuse me. Sorry. Let me start that. Let's see. And trying to repair relations with Ukraine. Relations jeopardized by the former administration's corruption. He hopes the moribund press will broadcast his claims loudly and readers will not go beyond those headlines. In the meantime, as is their wont, the hysterical press on the left is drooling over the possibility of another impeachment angle, all else having failed to work, and the president's popularity growing as their candidates manage to turn off tranche after tranche of voters. Once again, Adam Schiff pushed hard on the revolving door, and it's about to smack him and his party in the face. This coming week, President Trump and Ukrainian President Zelensky are set to meet. Watch for it. Now, here's where we get into it. Let's go here. I'm going to get back in. Let's go into the American Thinker article here. Oh, shoot. Did that go? Okay, yeah, I did. I didn't mean to do that. Anyway, let's go to the old journalism rule that a story should tell the readers who, what, where, and sometimes why they see what's in the news and what's nonsense. The Washington Post printed on its front page a story that the president made a call and a promise in it to an unspecified foreign leader, which so disturbed someone he reported it. The story was sketchy to say the least. Peter Suderman captured it precisely in a tweet. So a thing happened and Trump was involved, and apparently so was a foreign leader. And someone else in the NatSec field became upset. But it's not clear what happened or who the foreign leader was or who is upset or why. Snapping at the hook, no less. Then 3 Democrat congressmen have opened separate investigations into whether the president is conspiring with Ukraine for favorable election results. Adam Schiff, Elijah Cummings, and Elliot Engel. Let's walk back the cat, look at the latest reports, and we'll see how their desperate efforts to rid themselves of the president, who's almost certain to win a second term, boomerang on Joe Biden. The identity of the person the press claims is a whistleblower is unknown as yet. He, as the other McCain notes, is almost certainly a Democrat operative. A perfect example of the deep state problem that Trump supporters have been talking about for 3 years. The bureaucrats seem to believe they should have more influence on U.S. policy than the president himself if the president doesn't share their worldviews. Now, I remembered, I mentioned to you, who was the guy on CNN? What the hell's his name? The guy on CNN who hates Trump was ripped, and I mean ripped to shreds. Some of the people talking about this because the fact that the United States president talks to a foreign leader is no big deal. But they are so desperate. They are so desperate right now. And I find it funny. I just do. As the president observed earlier, all his conversations with foreign leaders are surely listened in on by various members of the intelligence community here and abroad. So the report of a whistleblower having access to secretive conversations seems utter bunk. Acting Director of National Intelligence Joseph McGuire, through his agency counsel, declined to turn over the complaint to the Congress, indicating it was not urgent, a threshold that must be met before turning over such complaints, and that the allegations in the complaint concerned conduct by someone outside the intelligence community, and that they involve confidential and potentially privileged communications by persons outside the intelligence community. In any event, this leaker, not a whistleblower in my view, is operating on limited facts. Now I'm going to stop there, because that's kind of the background. But here's the problem. When we stop there, this just leads me into the next article, because I don't even need to read the rest of this. The whistleblower had no direct knowledge of Trump telephone call, just hearsay. The anonymous White House whistleblower suggesting Donald Trump had an inappropriate conversation with a foreign power now known to be Ukraine reportedly made that claim based on hearsay. Now, if you're not sure why I'm laughing, and if you're not laughing, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. Oh, Maddie, I do have my coffee, by the way. I hope no one's jealous. Anyway, based on hearsay, Fox News senior political analyst Britt Humes noted on Saturday how CNN admitted that the political firestorm is all based on a whistleblower thought to be a White House intelligence agent with secondhand information. The CNN story cited by Hume suggests it is hard to see how any of this ends well, but doesn't mention the whistleblower's precarious grip on his inside information until the reader is deep within the report. Quote, the whistleblower did not have direct knowledge of the communications. An official briefed on the matter told CNN. Instead, the whistleblower's concerns came in part from learning information that was not obtained during the course of their work. And those details have played a role in the administration's determination that the complaint didn't fit the reporting requirements under the intelligence whistleblower law, the official said. So this person whistleblowing didn't hear the conversation. It's, what's my 3-day rule? What's today? Today's Monday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. The 3-day rule is in effect. Oh my gosh. Meanwhile, on Saturday, Ukrainian Foreign Minister Vadim Prystaiko denied that the conversation between Trump and Ukraine involved any sort of pressure from the president. The conversation has led a series of allegations based on what Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky might have discussed. There have been reports that Trump attempted to coerce Zelensky to open an investigation into former Vice President Joe Biden's son, Ukrainian's business interests. Failed 2016 Democratic they always put failed. Failed 2016 Democratic presidential candidate Hillary Clinton believes that Trump asked Ukraine to influence the 2020 elections. Tweeting on Friday, the president asked a foreign power to help him win an election. Again, these people are just, oh my God, they're insane. They're so fixated on the, oh my God, Hillary Clinton of all people, who along with her campaign and the Democratic National Committee paid a company to enlist a foreign spy to go get information from Russian operatives to influence an election, and she has room to talk. It's just amazing, the hypocrisy. It's just amazing. Let's see. Say, can you DM me those links? Oh, sure, I'd be happy to. Let me make sure. Here, let me open this one back up. That's the whistleblower one. Which one? The American. Which one is that? Cream Minister says, okay, let me see here. I'm trying to find it. They're all on the Ace of Spades blog except for one of them. Here's the one that it's American Thinker article. Where is it? Maddie, I'm doing this for you while we're live because I'm just, I'm the second most unprofessional. Okay, here, I'm just gonna, Maddie, I'm gonna put them in the chat. Here's the American Thinker article. There's that one. And then we'll put the Daily Caller one in here also. I'll just put them all in as we go now. I should probably do this. Maybe I should do this. Then you could, if you ever want to follow along in some of these articles in an easier format, that might work too. All right. So the whistleblower did not have any direct information. So may have just embellished a little bit. Who knows? So here's the next one, and I'll do a full screen on this so you can see all of it. There we go. Ukraine bombshell will explode in Democrats' faces. They have far more to lose with the, quote, whistleblower, end quote, scandal than does the president. The Democrats increasingly resemble those wannabe jihadis who blow themselves to rags by mishandling homemade explosives. Their animus for President Trump is such that they consistently underestimate the danger to themselves presented by bombshell revelations when managed with insufficient care. The already questionable credibility of Elizabeth Warren was recently damaged when, based on a now debunked New York Times story, she precipitately demanded the impeachment of Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh, a similarly impulsive Democratic response to the explosive claims made by an anonymous intelligence officer about a telephone conversation between President Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky will inevitably explode in their faces. Joe Biden is particularly vulnerable on this score. Now, let me stop there for a second because, in fact, So this whole thing with Biden that's blowing up, and it might be in this article. I haven't read the whole thing yet. So while Joe Biden was vice president, his son was doing business in Ukraine. And the business in Ukraine was under investigation. The judge in that particular case, there was pressure put on by the United States to have that judge fired. Okay, the pressure was put on by Vice President Joe Biden, and he has bragged about it publicly more than once. Okay. His son, who worked for, I think it's some kind of an oil firm or something in Ukraine, his son had no experience whatsoever in the business that he's in. Now, nepotism kind of, and getting, it's more who you know than what you know. I get it. That's kind of how business works. But when the vice president of the United States intervenes in the legal system of another country, getting another judge fired. And not only was it, when he bragged about it, he said, oh yeah, we got that damn guy fired or something like that, because they pressured him with some kind of aid or some kind of things. We'll get into that. I'll find it I know it's in one of these articles. The fact that Biden bragged about it and his son makes, it's like $50,000 a month working for this company. Yes, this is the whole story backfires on Joe Biden. And these guys are pushing the story, and all of a sudden, oh, wait a minute. Now they're finding out the whistleblower may not have had firsthand information. It wouldn't shock me in the bit if it wouldn't shock me. It wouldn't shock me in the least. It wouldn't shock me a bit. It wouldn't shock me in the least if this so-called whistleblower was just straight up bullshit by the Trump administration. It would not shock me at all. Oh, here. Now I just realized that I don't even have my desktop live, do I? I thought I turned this on. We need some funk, don't we? We need some funk. What is this? Let's start. Let's go right here. Here we go. I'm sorry. I thought I had some music going. It was going in my head. So anyway, Hunter Biden is making a lot. Yeah, his son needs the money to pay his coke dealer. Ooh, that's rough. That's rough. There we go. Now we got some music going. I'm sorry. I thought I had it on. So anyway, so let's get back to this article. Let's say I need a full screen for this one. There's a legal term for third-hand information. Hearsay. Yeah, it's hearsay. All right, so anyway, Joe Biden is particularly vulnerable on this score. The substance of the call involved Trump's request for an investigation into the business dealings of Biden's son Hunter, according to the whistleblower. Who has third-hand information that he didn't actually hear himself. The erstwhile VP is extraordinarily foolish to draw further attention to a son who has long been suspected of improperly leveraging his father's prominent role in Ukrainian relations with the United States. Biden, however, is not exactly renowned for his critical thinking skills. Consequently, he responded defensively to a reporter's question about his son Ukrainian's activities during a Saturday event in Iowa by calling for an investigation into the whistleblower's accusation. He's calling for an investigation into himself. He doesn't. Oh my gosh! But wait. Biden's quote was, "You should be looking at Trump. Why is he on the phone with a foreign leader trying to intimidate a foreign leader?" This is rich. Considering that Biden bragged in public about using his own position in the Obama administration to get a Ukrainian prosecutor fired. In 2018, Biden spoke to a meeting of the Council on Foreign Relations and boasted that he had threatened to withhold $1 billion in U.S. loan guarantees from Ukraine if Prosecutor General Viktor Shokin wasn't immediately canned. He said, quote, "I looked at him and said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor is not fired, you're not getting the money." Wow. The ostensible reason for this heavy-handed pressure to get rid of Shokin was the man's corruption. Presumably, it was just a coincidence that his particular prosecutor was planning on investigating into Burisma Holdings, a Ukrainian company for which Hunter Biden worked as a consultant. Biden was not alone in denouncing President Trump for his alleged attempt to intimidate Ukrainian President Zelensky. Julian Castro, another unemployed Obama administration official pursuing the Democratic presidential nomination, tweeted the following, quote, "Donald Trump is a criminal. He must be impeached immediately," end quote. Saturday, Castro began a speech with another demand that the House take immediate action to remove the president. "Let me begin with a message for our House Democratic friends. It is time for you to do your job and impeach Donald Trump." This was a big applause line for his audience, but contained no constitutional justification that is, for such an action by the House. As Jonathan Turley, professor of public interest law at George Washington University, writes, Trump is accused of pressing the Ukrainian president 8 times to work with his attorney, Rudy Giuliani, to investigate Biden. There is no allegation of an express promise of money in exchange for such an investigation. Such a quid pro quo could be a basis for a criminal charge, but the current allegations are short of the quid in the pro quo. While one could legitimately say that an express promise was hardly necessary, it is still not a crime for a president to ask a foreign leader to investigate crimes. Yeah. So there. Anyways, it's boy, it's silly, but this is all going to blow back on Biden. Let's just put it that way. It's all, oh, there he is. Adam Schiff. I always love it when people call him Schiff for brains. Anyway. All right, so moving on. Oh, before I move on, let's say good morning to some other people who've joined us. Ramen Noodles, good morning. Ramen Noodles 78. Good morning, Chi-Town J. What up, my dog? Good morning, Cynical Lindsay. And Longfish 61, ex-Bubba Hotep. And I think I caught everybody now. Good morning. Article 2 of the Constitution gives the president sweeping power to conduct foreign affairs, negotiate with leaders of other nations, make demands, or offer promises. You get the bell, Longfish 61. Exactly. So, now just a little more on this though. This is the best. I mean, this is a story that cracks me up. The anti-Trump whistleblowers from PJ Media. The anti-Trump whistleblower story looks like another phony scandal. Really? I didn't notice. The so-called whistleblower scandal that the media is hyping up every which way has Democrats once again falling all over each other to declare another impeachable offense, despite having virtually no details about the conversation between Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. But like everything else that's been thrown at Trump, this appears to be another phony scandal. The Daily Wire's Ash Show reported Saturday that the whistleblower complaint is nothing more than a rumor reported by someone in the intelligence community, or also called hearsay. Oh yeah, pencil neck. Pencil neck Schiff. In fact, CNN reported this fact, but buried it in the article. Oh, we'd already read this. The whistleblower did not have direct knowledge of the communications. Yeah, and so basically, all the reactions to the story since have been based on speculation as to what occurred in the call. Trump is alleged to have pressured Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky to offer a quid pro quo. Of course, we know it's minus the quid, which, according to the Wall Street Journal, there wasn't. President Trump, on a July phone call, repeatedly pressured... Oh, wait, what? Oh, this is the Wall Street Journal. President Trump, in a July phone call, repeatedly pressured the president of Ukraine to investigate Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden's son, urging Volodymyr Zelensky about 8 times to work with Rudy Giuliani, his personal lawyer, on a probe, according to people familiar with the matter. He told him that he should work with Giuliani on Biden, and that people in Washington wanted to know whether allegations were true or not, one of the people said. Mr. Trump didn't mention a provision of foreign aid to Ukraine on the call. And said this person, who didn't believe Mr. Trump offered the Ukrainian president any quid pro quo for his cooperation in that investigation. It's in the... So there, oh my gosh, it's comical. I'm telling you, folks, any type of bombshell, 3 to 5 days. Just wait 3 to 5 days before you get too much into it. Good morning, LA Prepper. Also, pretty sure POTUS can make a phone call to investigate. What? Pretty sure POTUS can make a phone call to investigate treason. Yeah, and I don't even know that's not even treason. That, you know what? You know how they keep trying to get him on the emoluments clause? Fascinating that Joe Biden has been bragging about the pressure to get the judge fired that was investigating the company that's paying his son $50,000 a month using government aid or government guaranteed loans to that country as leverage. Now, does the emoluments clause include when you're pressuring a company when your son is the one being gaining money from that something in that country? I don't know. That seems pretty corrupt to me, doesn't it? And then the country fires the judge you're pressuring about, and you brag about it in speech after speech back in the States. Anyway, so far all we know is that the whistleblower at the heart of this situation didn't actually hear anything. One thing we do know is that in 2016, Joe Biden successfully pressured then Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko to axe the country's top prosecutor, who was investigating his son's company, by threatening to withhold $1 billion in U.S. loan guarantees. Biden even bragged about it. Let's see if there's a clip of him doing that. I want a video clip of that. Yeah, here we go. It's there. Good. I'm going to play that for you. The whistleblower scandal may be just another nothing burger for Trump, but it could be a much bigger problem for Joe Biden. This may get uglier, but maybe for Joe, not Trump. Update. Trump tweets that the Ukraine foreign minister himself disputes reports of any pressure from him. And actually, there's a quote that I just read in the last article. So let's take a quick peeky here at, oh no! The video's gone. Well, it's the Hill, so you know that, wow, it's funny how that's just disappeared. This video cannot be played because of a technical error. Well, all right. Yeah, 2 years after leaving office, Joe Biden couldn't resist the temptation last year to brag to an audience of foreign policy specialists about the time as vice president that he strong-armed Ukraine into firing its top prosecutor. In his own words, with the video cameras rolling, this video is out there all over the place. It's no longer on the Hill. Shocker. Biden described how he threatened Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko in March 2016 that the Obama administration would pull $1 billion in U.S. loan guarantees, sending the former Soviet republic towards insolvency if it didn't immediately fire Prosecutor General Viktor Shokin. I said, "You're not getting the billion. I'm going to be leaving here in, I think, about 6 hours." I looked at them and said, "I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor is not fired, you're not getting the money," Biden recalled telling Poroshenko. Well, son of a bitch, he got fired, and they put in place someone who was solid at the time, Biden told the Council on Foreign Relations event, insisting that President Obama was in on the threat. Oh, no. I don't even remember that part. I've watched it a couple times. It didn't even click in my head that the president was in on it too. Are you kidding me? Interviews with a half dozen senior Ukrainian officials confirmed Biden's account, though they claim the pressure was applied over several months in late 2015 and early 2016, not just 6 hours of one dramatic day. Whatever the case, Poroshenko and Ukraine's parliament obliged by ending Shokin's tenure as prosecutor. Shokin was facing steep criticism in Ukraine and among some U.S. officials for not bringing enough corruption prosecutions when he was fired. But Ukrainian officials tell me there was one crucial piece of information that Biden must have known but didn't mention to his audience. The prosecutor he got fired was leading a wide-ranging corruption probe into the natural gas firm Burisma Holdings that employed Biden's younger son Hunter as a board member. Oh my goodness, this is even more than I thought. U.S. banking records show Hunter Biden's American firm, Rosemont Seneca Partners LLC, received regular transfers into one of its accounts, usually more than $166,000 a month, from Burisma from spring 2014 through fall 2015, during a period when Vice President Biden was the main U.S. official dealing with Ukraine and its tense relations with Russia. Holy crap, I didn't even know that part. That's, oh, my. Yeah, he accidentally throws Obama under the bus talking to the Council of Foreign Relations, and it's on tape. There it is. That's on tape. Oh, man. I think it's going to, guess what, folks? I think there's a good possibility that Elizabeth Warren's going to be the the presidential nominee for 2020. Oh, God. I don't want to hear it. I'm going to be hearing the word Pocahontas over and over and over again. It's funny because some people say Trump calling her Pocahontas is racist, and I think it's more of a jab that she's not Pocahontas. Faux-Kahontas with an F. No Kahontas. Oh, man. Wow. And you know what the thing is? Although Biden made no mention of that. Okay, here we go. The timing of Hunter Biden and Arch's appointment to Burisma's board has also been highlighted in the past by the New York Times in December 2015. Yeah, this story was all over the place in 2015 because it was really, it was really odd that, suddenly the vice president's son's getting this huge job, which he has no background in. The timing of Hunter Biden's and Arch's appointment to the Burisma board has been highlighted in the past by the New York Times in December 2015 and in a 2016 book by conservative author Peter Schweizer. Although Biden made no mention of his son in his 2018 speech, U.S. and Ukrainian authorities both told me Biden and his office clearly had to know about the general prosecutor's probe of Burisma and his son's role. They noted that Hunter Biden appointment to the board was widely reported in the American media. The U.S. Embassy in Kiev that coordinated Biden's work in the country repeatedly and publicly discussed the general prosecutor's case against Burisma. Great Britain took very public action against Burisma while Joe Biden was working with that government on Ukraine issues. Biden's office was quoted on the record acknowledging Hunter Biden's role in Burisma in a New York Times article about the general prosecutor's Burisma case that appeared 4 months before Biden forced the firing of Shokin. The vice president's office suggested in that article that Hunter Biden was a lawyer free to pursue his own private business deals. So it's not that he had the business deal, but it's just the fact that Biden intervened and got a judge fired that was investigating his son's, the company his son was on the board of. It's it's funny to me. I don't know. I'm just laughing now. Let's see. Biden says so now Biden's denying that he ever discussed Hunter Biden's Ukraine deal, but his son says he did. Oh my gosh. I might not get through this. Former Vice President Joe Biden claimed he never discussed Hunter Biden's business dealing in Ukraine. However, a July article from The New Yorker belies that contention. I have never spoken to my son about his overseas business dealings, Biden told Fox News reporter Pete. This is rich. When Pete Ducey asked him, he told reporter Pete Ducey on Saturday in Iowa before calling on President Trump to be investigated over a phone call he made to Ukraine's president. Pardon me. The New Yorker article titled, "Will Hunter Biden Jeopardize His Father's Campaign?" is an in-depth look at Hunter Biden's life and business dealings. It also contains a segment where Hunter apparently recalled discussing Ukrainian natural gas producer Burisma just once. We only talked about it once. Oh gosh, I hope this isn't boring, but Pocahontas. Okay. In December 2015, as Joe Biden prepared to return to Ukraine, his aides braced for renewed scrutiny of Hunter's relationship with Burisma. Amos Hochstein, the Obama administration's special envoy for foreign policy, raised the matter with Biden, but did not go so far as to recommend that Hunter leave the board. As Hunter recalled, his father discussed Burisma with him just once. Just once! I won't get into that song. Anyone else here? Is that Jeffrey Osborne or... No, it's Ingram. James Ingram. He's a great singer. They're talking about a tangent. Just once, when they find the time to make it right. Make the magic last for more than just one night. Okay. As Hunter recalled, his father discussed Burisma with him just once. Dad said, "I hope you know what you're doing," and I said, "I do." The inconsistency was pointed out on Twitter by Daily Mail U.S. political editor David Martosky. During a July 25th phone call, a whistleblower claims President Trump asked Ukrainian president, blah, 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 blah. Okay, anyway. It's richer and richer. Now, let's get back into Adam Schiff for brains. Adam Schiff. Impeachment might be remedy up to Trump's evil bullying of Ukraine. Oh my gosh. Yeah, this was on Friday, I think. Or no, maybe this was a Sunday morning. Oh, yeah, it was Sunday. Sunday on CNN's State of the Union, Representative Adam Schiff, Democrat, California, said, if President Donald Trump asked Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky to investigate 2020 presidential hopeful, former Vice President Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden, impeachment might be the only remedy. Oh, God. Stop throwing up when I sing, evil one. I'm a decent singer. Even when I'm goofing around on here. Go watch my Carol of the Bells video on my other channel. You'll see I can sing. I'm a talented motherfucker. Anyway, Schiff said, I have been very reluctant to go down the path of impeachment for the reason that I think the founders contemplated in a country that has an election every 4 years, this would be an extraordinary remedy. A remedy of last resort, not first resort, but if the president is withholding military aid at the same time trying to browbeat a foreign leader into doing something illicit. Wait a minute. Wait, hold up. Now, I know he said this on Sunday, before everything hit the fan again today, but doing something illicit, investigating corruption is illicit? Really, Adam? Really, sir? That is providing dirt on his opponent during a presidential campaign, then that may be the only remedy, and that is only co-equal to the evil that conduct represents. Sorry. Your story's falling apart, and I think you bringing this up has brought some unwanted attention to Joe and Hunter Biden. All right. I think if we beat this horse to death, have we beat it to death enough, anyone? Okay. Just checking. I went to the dog pound and got some Schiff on my boot. Hey, you know what? Everything's good in the dog pound. Hey, by the way, I'm going to restart. On Fridays, I was trying to have interviews every Friday, or at least guests on my show. And I think I finally figured out how I'm going to do that. I was kind of waiting to see what new technologies came in place of Google Hangouts. And there's a couple. I know Monkey uses one, and there's a couple other people who use some other ones. So I think we're going to start, maybe not this week, but I think starting next week, we're going to go back to having Dog Pound Fridays, where I have guests, and I call it Dog Pound Fridays because we all play nicely in the Dog Pound. They're not always going to be people that I agree with. It's going to be, I'm just going to bring people in that I think are interesting, whether or not we agree on some of the things we talk about on the show. So anyway, Evil One says, so let me get this straight. It's okay to use the FBI, CIA, and foreign countries to look into some when the Democrats do it, but if a Republican does it, it's impeachment. Yeah, I'm just saying, this is amazing. I mean, it's amazing. The other, and also, I don't, going back to that Corey Lewandowski hearing, when Corey Lewandowski basically mimicked everything that Robert Mueller did in the testimony he gave before Congress. I mean, and I don't know why nobody caught it. I saw it right away. Everything that Corey Lewandowski did in that thing, except for when he was kind of being a smartass about his book, it was like almost exactly what Mueller did. Only talked about things that were in the report, asked for pages, asked for things, asked for reclarification on what page and where it was. That's what he did. I found it hilarious, but nobody, I don't know, no one seemed to pay attention to that. So anyway, let's do a little quick shilling. I got a big commercial to make this easier. But anyway, welcome to Morning Live. If you've been here before, I am so happy you're back. And if you're new here and you haven't already done so, right down there's a subscribe button. Subscribe, and when that little bell comes up, click the bell so you get notifications when we start the stream. We're here Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central, 2 p.m. GMT. I got to stop saying the GMT. Apparently, everyone else in the world knows how to figure out. If I say Eastern time in the United States, everyone knows how to calculate from Eastern time in the United States. I don't. I do if I'm in the States, but I know I'm 7-hour difference from Nigeria part of the year and 6 hours the rest because my father lives there. But anyway, the other thing is as important. You are the sponsors of the Morning Night Live. You guys make this show happen. Also down here is the share button. That's really important. Hit the share button, tweet it out, whatever. If you see my tweets. Oh, I didn't even tweet this out today, did I? Well, that was dumb. But let's see. Did somebody tweet it out for me? Let's see who's. Yeah, there we go. Shiagrath did. Thank you so much, Shiagrath. I appreciate it. In fact, I'm gonna retweet Shiagrath. And we're gonna put Shiagrath's tweet in the stream. If you don't follow Shiagrath on Twitter, this is your opportunity. There you go. Ding. There you go. There's Shiagrath's tweet. You can retweet that, or you can hit share, send it on Facebook, and all the other social media that they list off. And finally, if you'd like to do super chats and make sure that I read something you write, I will always read my super chats. They are in the description down below. Somebody will probably put them in the chat somewhere eventually. In fact, here, I'll put one in the chat myself. If you want to do super chats, I do them through the Streamlabs link, which is right. Ding. Oh. Well, it's in the chat probably before. What the hell? No. I don't want this update. No, we're going to do snooze the update. All right. So now the Streamlabs link is also in there if you want to do super chats. I'll read the super chats. Also, if you have questions for me, do them through super chats. I'll answer any question you put to me via the super chats. And that's also where you can make donations if you ever want to do that too. I love it when you do it, but certainly this show is always, it's always free. It's always free, but if you like what we're doing, support the show. All right, let's get away from Adam Schiff a little bit. There's a lot of news about. Well, wait. Hang on. Let's do the climate stuff first. That's more important. So this weekend there was a strike, but not just any strike. A strike around the world, asking for climate justice. Now, is your father Prince? If so, no. No. Okay, let me clarify this. Okay, I just saw what Doug just put in the chat. Let's clarify this. No, my father's not a prince. My father is my natural father, who I met in 2004, just after my 40th birthday. My father is a tribal chief in eastern Nigeria. And so the P in Dawg Knight stands for prince, because as I found out, technically I am a prince in that culture. So, but I haven't sent you one damn letter, so there you go. But yeah, so that's what the P in Dawg Knight stands for. I used to have a friend. When we found this out, one of my very good friends, Mitch Goldberg, told me, he started calling me Prince all the time, and I'm like, will you stop calling me Prince? You say, hey, Prince, how you doing? I'm like, come call me Prince. So finally he said, okay, fine. I'm going to call you P-Dog. I'm like, great. You're going to call me P-Dog. And so he's called me P-Dog for a while. And then one day out of the blue, he just says, yo, Dawg Knight. Which is a play on the band Dawg Knight, a great musical group from the 70s. And that's where the Dawg Knight nickname came from. And that's where the name of my channel came from. So there's a little Dawg Knight trivia for you. Even though my first name is Marty, Dawg Knight works too. And he still calls me that to this day. There's only one Prince in Minnesota. Yeah, no. Yeah, and it's me, because that Prince you're probably talking about is no longer. But he's the greatest musician of all time. At least modern era especially. It may not be whatever. He's by far the greatest musician in the modern era. Not saying that he has all the best songs or whatever, but I don't think there's a musician. I can't think of a musician even compares to what that guy could do. And I've seen him live a few times, or I saw him live a few times, and just an amazing musician. Okay, so let's get into this little climate strike. And I thought this was a decent article, so there we go. Yes, Dawg Knight, Joy to the World was probably their biggest hit of all time. All right, let's get into the climate strike here. We'll do a full screen on this one because the left's cynical and childish climate strike by Eric Lendrum. What is even more obnoxious than thousands of smug, self-righteous leftists preaching hysterically about the Church of Mother Earth and the imminent destruction of our planet due to global warming, hearing the same song and dance from a bunch of literal children? And that is exactly what the left and its enthusiastic enablers in the corporate leftist media have unleashed upon us. No matter how much you may have tried to resist it, chances are that you've seen some images, video, and social media posts crammed into your feed recently from the climate strike sensation. Even though this march is yet another vain effort that will fade into oblivion with the passing of time, just like the Women's March or the March for Our Lives events, the left and its allies in the press have tried like hell to make this one stick even harder with the apocalyptic message. Look no further than MSN's Spotlight aggregate page, featuring headline after headline groveling at the feet of the holy and untouchable figureheads of this ridiculous movement. The children. It's got to be nice to the children. Let's take a look at some of the most stomach-turning examples of this totally organic, non-orchestrated, in the slightest, media narrative. The Atlantic had an article. Children know it's time to panic about climate change. You know what? Here's what frustrates the shit out of me about this. I'm gonna calm down first. We are scaring the shit out of people for something that humans can manage. At least as far as let's say now, remember, we should have been dead for 10 years. The Miami should have been 10 feet underwater, according to Al Gore's predictions in his famous, very scientific documentary, Inconvenient Truth. We should already be done. We should have been long gone. The models said we'd be underwater in certain parts of the country right now. The whole East Coast, Florida, West Coast. I mean, it all should be underwater already. But they keep going, and so. But we're there are kids who are just have anxiety. Anyway, stop. I think you follow me here. Let me talk about these. Here's the headlines. ABC writes: 5 youth climate activists you need to know. No, I don't need to know any youth climate activists at all. I don't need to know any of them. We already have Greta, who, you know what? Good for her. She's out there pumping a cause that she believes in, but guess what? I don't want to listen to you, Greta. Sorry, I don't. Just go ahead and do your thing, but you're still a 16-year-old kid whose brain isn't even fully developed yet. I have been around for a long time and heard every different doomsday thing that have come and passed. And this seems to be just another one. Every 5 to 10 years, they come up with a new one of why we should give the government more money. That's basically and this one is, they've got the whole world on board on this one. Yes, the climate may be changing. The question they could never answer for me is, so we've been coming out of an ice age. You know, we're on the tail end of coming out of an ice age, right? So when for example, when you have a glass full of ice and you're out in a hot summer and you have a nice cooled beverage out there, and the ice slowly melts, it has to end melting at some point, right? Because finally it turns into liquid. So you have these glaciers that have been melting for, hundreds of years. and they're towards the end of them melting and the temperature's rising a little bit. But we're coming out of an ice age, right? When you're coming out of ice age, because there's been a gradual increase in temperature for, years and years, although it changes based on sunspots and shit like that. But my question is that they can never really tell me the answer to it. I don't know the answer, and what is the correct temperature of the Earth? Because the Earth's been around for, I don't know, tens of thousands of years. I don't know. What's the correct temperature? What should the average temperature on the Earth be? And when was it? Anybody know that? Because we've been coming out. Remember, we're coming. I live in Minnesota. I have examples of what happened. When the glaciers were here, there's all these beautiful glacial lakes up here. In Lake Superior, just a former glacier, basically. I don't know. I'm not sure of that particular one. There's tons of glacial lakes in Minnesota. I live in a state full of glacial lakes, and none of those glaciers are still there. So what's the correct temperature of the Earth? I don't know. Nobody knows. They can probably go back and see the record that the average Earth temperature that they could go from the record from, what do they call it? Rock formation records and shit like that has probably been higher than it is now. I don't know. Anyway, other headlines. Fox News had a headline. Yes, there is a climate crisis. Mr. Trump, listen to the kids. Listen to your new human shields, the children. USA Today, climate strike, student protests in San Francisco, Chicago, New York. Later changed to, this. Our house is on fire. Global climate strikes draws out hundreds of thousands of protesters in New York and D.C. All right. Think of the children, but don't listen to them. As with the anti-gun protests in the aftermath of the 2018 mass shooting at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida, the left is rushing to use children as their human shields to defend otherwise insane and indefensible policy positions. It's funny too, speaking of insane and indefensible policy positions, so you got this Green New Deal thingy that the Justice, Social, whatever Democrats have come up with, with AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, have come up with, and it's a super vague plan, but what the F does half of that plan have to do with climate change? It's mostly just a socialist utopia agenda, which a vast majority has nothing to do with climate change, but they want to take all your money because your money is going to help them spend more money in Washington, whatever they're going to do. It's like, come on, give me a break. Silly people. Anyway, so they want to use children as human shields to defend otherwise insane and indefensible policy positions. Just as leftist organizations and media outlets exaggerated the number of teenagers present at the original March for Our Lives, they are similarly twisting the extent of youth involvement in the climate change movement to their advantage. Well, the funny thing is like, and then half the schools just let their students out for it. So, good thing they're learning. I think that if you're going to have a day about climate change, maybe you should spend the whole day in school learning about climate change or learning about science or something. First, as has been widely reported, the vast majority of students around the country who participated in Friday's climate strike were given excused absences from school to join the protest on Friday. Hey, let's go party down in the city instead of going to school. Think back to when you were in high school, just 16 years old. Would you take advantage of every single opportunity to skip school for a day, especially on a Friday, and especially if it meant chilling with your friends at some dumb protest? There is no more surefire method to draw bodies out for your event, even if many of them couldn't care less about electric cars and flatulent cows, than to offer an excused absence from school. So it's pretty safe to say that this tactic dramatically inflated the attendance at most of these rallies. Oh, you think? Second, if the March for Our Lives fiasco was any indication, a movement with children as its figureheads is likely to fail, despite the national media attention and underlying support from the entirety of the Democratic Party. The anti-gun Parkland kids couldn't even get a single anti-gun bill passed in their home state of Florida, and instead gave us nothing more than a spectacular display of fake tears when one of their champion gun bans bills failed. If anything, speaking of things that they are trying to scare you about. So, yes, that shooting happened. Absolutely. And so, again, using fear to try to get your legislative judge. Every time, I'm going to get into this because of another tweet I saw this weekend that kind of missed by Elizabeth Warren. I'll get into it in a minute. But every time something happens, they try to say, oh, this is something that's going to happen. You know how many schools there are in the United States? Okay. And yes, school shootings are terrible. They're the worst thing that ever happened. You absolutely never want them happening. So 3 schools in the last, there's been a few more, but I mean, how many school shootings are there relative to the number of schools there are in the United States? It's again, more people die slipping in bathtubs. And I'm not belittling the idea of a school shooting, but it's just, here's the tweet that Elizabeth Warren gave out. And the only reason I'm talking about this is because I had a flap about Candace Owens this weekend talking about what people should be worried about. Are we worried about white supremacy? And Elizabeth Warren tweeted out 18. There have been 18 black trans women killed or murdered so far this year. It's an epidemic, she says. An epidemic. Now, I don't think, and she listed the names of them all, every single one of them that she knows of, and calling it an epidemic. And I'm thinking, wait a minute. Over the last 10 years, there have been an average of 13,000 murders. Anywhere between 12.5 roughly to 15.5 thousand murders on average. And so when you say it's an epidemic, and let's just say more than 50% or around 50% of, is it 50% of victims of all murders are black men. And then there's a correlating about 50% of all 50% of all the people who commit murders are black people. But that's not really the point here. But out of 15,000 murders, an average, or between 12 and 15,000 murders, and there's 18 murders of black trans women. Now, I looked into some of them. More than half of those were murdered by their domestic partner. So I don't know what her point was, fixating on 18 black trans murders, but so half were done by their domestic partner, and then about most of the others were one was related to a robbery, one was related to a road rage incident. There's maybe, and then some were unknown, but they're not solved. So what was her point? So it's just like this, the Parkland kids, you're so focused on your event, realizing that yes, terrible things happen in the world and we'd never want those terrible things to happen, but there's over the big picture, there are more people killed every weekend throughout the United States. But we don't ever focus on the big picture. We want to focus on these small little segmented, intersectional things that happen and not the big picture. You know, Black Lives Matters only when only when a white cop or a white person kills a black person. When we're killing ourselves way more, but nobody even thinks about that. Oh man, it just drives me nuts. Anyway, moving on to this one. Who besides Harvard admissions office, which admitted otherwise unqualified David Hogg, really cares what a bunch of children have to say? We have age limits on many important parts of our life for a reason. You cannot drive until you're 16, you cannot vote or enlist until you're 18, you cannot drink until you're 21, and you can't run for federal office until you are at least 25. Empty-headed children like Greta Thunberg, I needed to say empty-headed, but not fully expanded children are proof why these limitations exist. She's not empty-headed. She's a smart young lady, but her mind isn't fully developed. At her testimony before Congress, the 16-year-old global warming wunderkind who came out of nowhere even admitted that she had nothing new to say. She stated point blank that she did not intend to offer any prepared remarks at this hearing, instead simply submitting as her testimony the IPCC special report on global warming from last year and adding, "I don't want you to listen to me, I want you to listen to the scientists." I'm not listening to her. So if this girl is literally admitting before the United States Congress that she has absolutely nothing new to add to the conversation, then why would we care about her? She is merely regurgitating talking points from higher authorities, the same authorities who undoubtedly bankrolled her entire unorganic crusade in the first place. Chances are she was chosen because of her mental disability, which makes her just that much more sympathetic to a general audience. Yeah, she's a human shield. There was a huge argument on Twitter this weekend between some people because someone had the audacity to say, "Why are we listening to her?" I mean, I don't mean to, didn't disparage her, and people just like, "Oh no, you can't talk about her. She's a year-old young kid and she's got autism and blah 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 blah." Human shield, right? She's a fucking human shield. And, you know, and I don't have any problem with her at all, other than I'm not going to listen to her. She's a 6-year-old kid. She thinks she's doing something right. She's an activist, but I don't have to listen to her. She has nothing to tell me, okay? I've read a lot more about climate change than probably the average human on this planet that's not a scientist. So she adds nothing to my opinions about it. Nor does she influence me at all. Yeah, she's a young girl who sailed across the street, who her parents let her go off sailing across the street with a bunch of strange men on some boat to talk about climate change. Okay, good for her. But she's the best. She's one of the greatest human shields ever. The left's idolization of children as somehow representing a political force of its future is indicative of a broader, more sinister approach to politics generally. There are two main, and yeah, the intersectional victim narrative. There are two major reasons for this. First, it is one of their most recently deployed tactics for attempting to mask their dangerously radical positions with ethos, whether it's using dead children to cover for their efforts to ban all guns, or using disabled children to advocate for the strictest environmental regulations imaginable. But more significantly than that, it is indicative of their new dystopian worldview where some greater international law trumps national sovereignty, and wherein children have far greater autonomy than ever before in human history, which should be a good thing, right? Right? I mean, oh my gosh, it's funny because sometimes your freedoms can cause problems too, but that's what's great about this particular country. But more significantly than that, for the former, the fact that Thunberg, a Swedish citizen, is now lecturing Americans about what they should and shouldn't do is representative of their globalist agenda to see national barriers broken down through appeals to combat a supposed global problem. The United Nations has pushed similar efforts advocating worldwide gun control. Kiss my grits. As for increased autonomy for children, there is no secret that modern education systems have been nothing more than far-left brainwashing facilities ever since the rise of the Frankfurt School, with insidious Marxism and anti-American sentiment being ingrained in the most recent generations of college graduates. Yeah, oh my God, yeah. The push for socialism. Oh my gosh, socialism would be so great. Hey, socialism lovers around the world, do you realize that socialism can only be enacted with an overbearing central government that takes control of everything you do and kind of screws things up when people, don't necessarily want to contribute and everyone begins to starve? Yeah, they're eating animals and they ate all the zoo animals in Venezuela, by the way. They ate them because they were running out of food, so they ate all the zoo animals. God, Yet to the left, these children are the leaders of tomorrow. When it comes to the environment, just as much as the experts on gun policies are kids whose experiences with guns go no further than the latest Call of Duty installment. Put simply, they want us to submit to the will of hysterical children because Greta Thunbergs and David Hoggs of the world most accurately reflect the mindset of today's adult left. Now, instead of finishing their sentence, yeah, childish. No, they say a cult of drones who are ill-informed, hyper-emotional, over-sensational, devoid of common sense, and averse to facts. And they want all of us to be just like them. Yes. So, there you go. Now. This is and here's the companion article before we get into Twitter trends, because I'm going to skip the rest of my stuff today. Here's the companion article to that. So, before I even click it, so all of the Democrats are on board with climate change, and a vast majority, or at least not a vast majority, a portion of the Democrats are really all about the Green New Deal, right? And so one of the things in the Green New Deal is, we have to look at our agriculture practices and look at how, for example, the production of beef, cows produce a ton of methane. And that's one of our, at least 5% of the greenhouse gases that are causing the planet to warm and everything, right? Cow farts, right? That was kind of the little joke about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Cow farts. Yes? Yes? Yes. Democrats cook 10,500 steaks while lecturing Americans about eating less meat. Oh my gosh, several Democratic presidential candidates will be attending an annual steak fry event despite lecturing Americans about the need to eat less meat because of climate change. Now this was Saturday, so this climate change thing was going on. And the next day they had the big giant steak fry. The organizers of the Iowa Polk County Democratic Party's annual steak fry will be grilling 10,500 steaks and 1,000 vegan burgers on 10 grills during Saturday's event. It was the same day as the climate thing. Some of the candidates will grill steaks themselves. So there's Kamala Harris, got the apron on, ready to throw some steaks on the Barbie, baby. Woo! Let's go. The Democratic candidates recently participated in a CNN climate town hall where multiple candidates discussed the importance of reducing meat intake. Senator Kamala Harris, that's that lady right there. Senator Kamala Harris, Democrat California, called for the U.S. government to create incentives to eat less meat. As a nation, we actually have to have a real priority at the highest levels of government around what we eat. And in terms of healthy eating, because we have a problem in America, Harris said, but there has to be also what we do in terms of creating incentives that we will eat in a healthy way, that we will encourage moderation, and that we will be educated about the effect of our eating habits on the environment. Andrew Yang said he would modify America's diets over time. What? What? By increasing the price of beef to the point where Americans would buy less meat. Oh, so taxes. Everything, you know how the answer to everything. The answer to everything is, well, we'll just take more of your money, and so you can't choose for yourself. Why not? You know, and I am fully on board of eating more healthy. I got to lose some weight, right? In fact, my wife and I are both going to go on a little, health thing because it's about that time, and we're going to cheat just during the holidays, and then at the beginning of the next year, we're going to eat less meat and try to eat more healthy. But that's our choice. So talk about that. You can't. Thanks, D.I. Freighter. I hope you have a lovely day. Thank you for being here. But I love a good frickin' New York strip or ribeye steak every once in a while, and I'm gonna eat it if I want to. Senator Bernie Sanders, whatever he says, and Mayor Pete Buttigieg are also in favor of adding a meat tax in order to decrease consumption. You know what's funny? You know what? You ever notice how when politicians want you to do less of something, whenever they want you to do less of something, they always say, well, we're going to increase the tax on it, right? So they did it with cigarettes. We want people less smoking, so we will increase the taxes on smoking. And we want a lower consumption meat to decrease consumption. And this article says right there, in favor of adding a meat tax to lower consumption, correct? If you want less of something, you tax it more, right? Don't the Democrats want to raise the taxes on businesses? Okay, just think about that. Senator Cory Booker, who is vegan, said, "This planet simply can't sustain people eating meat." Sure it can. It has for quite a long time, and whatever. All right, folks. I think it's time we got to do a quick round of Twitter trends because I'm not going to get to all my articles today. Let me see if there's something I have to get to though. Another New York Times editor made a racist anti-Semitic comments. Fancy that. That's a Breitbart article. Let's see. Oh, Joe Biden was telling reporters kinds of questions they could ask. That was kind of with the Hunter Biden thing. It's funny because Brian Stelter on CNN this weekend celebrated Joe Biden for chirping back at some Fox News guy, Steve Doocy or whatever. But I thought it was interesting that when you're talking about being disrespectful to the press, he cheers when Joe Biden does it, right? Isn't that telling the press what kind of questions they can ask? Are you kidding me? Is that... Oh, wait. I'm sorry. Silly me. SFM. If you ever hear me say SFM, that's an acronym for silly fucking me. SFM. Joe Biden's a Democrat. He can talk about the press however he wants, especially if it's Fox News. But anyway, what's the other headline I had? Young gun owner tells Beto O'Rourke, "Hell no, you're not taking my guns." Yeah, that was kind of cool. And then let's see. I might get to this one tomorrow. No, I won't. I'm going to skip that one anyway. All right, let's talk about Twitter trends. What's happening in the world of Twitter? What's going on in... we got more notifications. Thank you, Angel Tibbs and Truck and Bear, for retweeting the show out today. I appreciate you very much. Let's get into Twitter trends real quick, and then we'll get the heck out of Dodge. Why is Fat Joe on the top of my Twitter trends today? If y'all know who Fat Joe is, a rapper from the late 90s. He had some hit someday. Anyway, Twitter, ding, click, there we go. Number one trending on Twitter today. Today is the first day of fall. Actually, wasn't that yesterday? Isn't that the 22nd? Why are they putting this today? Maybe they just think the first day of fall has to be on a Monday. But anyway, there's people tweeting about it, though. Let's see who's talking about the first day of fall on the top of my trends today. Oh, Twitter moments. Get your pumpkins and sweatshirts in order. It's officially the first day of fall. You know how I know it's fall? Because every time I drive by a coffee shop, they're advertising pumpkin lattes for all the, little white girls. Anyway, so that's a kind of a cool photo, though. I love fall. We're going to do a fall colors trip here soon. Oh, when we were in our trip to Hibbing this weekend, there were a lot of trees already changing up in northern Minnesota. It was quite beautiful, but man, in Minnesota we have an online thing by the Department of Natural Resources called the Fall Colors Maps, where it'll give you where the best full spectrum fall colors leaf changes are, and so that's just a big thing here. Is people look at the fall colors map and go travel up the weekend to where the best fall colors are and take lots of cool pictures. We are going to do that this year too. Probably up on the North Shore near all the waterfalls. Besides, we have a really good restaurant up there that one of my friends used to own that has great food, and it's a great stop on the way to the waterfalls. Anyway, so it is officially the first day of fall. Okay, Sarah Spivey, the high will be 97. Where does she live? She is in San Antonio. Yeah, it's like 70, or it was 60 degrees when I left work this morning, and on my way to come home for this show. So anyway, first day of fall, happy fall. Get ready to take some really beautiful pictures of trees changing if you're in that part of the country where the trees change. Number 2, trending here. Oh, wait. Hotep G's around the... What? Let me see who's... There's some... What is he tweeting about the first day of fall? Look at that. See that picture there? Look at this picture. Is that not just beautiful? I love fall. I love doing bonfires in the fall and the changing of the leaves. That is just gorgeous. All right. All right, moving on. Let's see here. Let's get back into Twitter there. Okay. Oh, Jesus Christ. Ted Lieu, everyone's favorite congressperson. It's the first day of fall. Congress still cannot get key witnesses to show up, witness to answer basic questions, Trump's tax returns, the whistleblower complaint. Ted, keep asking for that whistleblower complaint, please. Please keep asking for it. Yes. We're going to get to see some Democrat corruption. All right, enough of the first day of fall. I'm not going to figure out who else is tweeting that. Let's go. Number 2, Sid Haig. Sid Haig. Horror icon Sid Haig has died at the age of 80. I'm not sure who he is. Captain Spaulding is one of those rare characters who was iconic the second he stepped onto the screen. That's the kind of actor Sid Haig was, a legend across multiple generations, and a man who spent the last many years hanging out with horror fans, making them smile. I have no idea. Oh, I know the actor. I'm familiar with him, but I don't know why he's big with horror fans. I guess I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that movie, but apparently that was one of his most iconic characters. Rest in peace, Sid Haig. Okay, moving on. We got number 3, Buy Visibility Day. Oh, good Lord. Why? I mean, I don't, you know what? Isn't that your own business? Do I care if you're bi? I don't even know it, but I'm sure I work with 10 people who are either gay, bi, or trans. And I don't care. Why? I'm not trying to fuck them. Sorry, I don't care. You do what you do in your life, and I don't care if it's visible. Buy Visibility Day. If you want to know the meaning of unconditional love, read this letter my girlfriend received from her grandma after she recently came out to her family about dating a woman. Just be a good person and be happy. Yeah, grandma, tell that girl. Be who you are. Buy Visibility Day. What? Why? Who cares? If you're bi, how does that affect anyone around you except the people you're fucking? It doesn't. I don't care. Okay, it's Buy Visibility Day, but a lot of people tweeted about it. Mel, aren't you bisexual? If you aren't bisexual, if you're committed to me, that's not how it works. If you say you are and we're together, it means I ain't enough for you and it makes me feel like shit. My ex, that's what her ex said, your relationship status isn't your sexual orientation. Happy Bi Visibility Day. I love being bi, and no amount of biophobia and bi erasure can take that away from me. You know, the only people who are biphobia, so to speak, the only people who are biphobia, and I swear to God, I can almost guarantee, the only people who are biphobic are gay and lesbian people. They are. Oh my God, because that's why that's one of those rifts in the LGBT community. The gay and the lesbian people think the bi people are gross. I don't give a fuck. It doesn't affect me. I don't need your be invisible as you want. If you live in the world, you're already visible. I don't care. Nobody fucking cares. Maybe is it just me? Well, I suppose I'm speaking to a choir here. I gotta ask this. Maybe I might have to. Oh my God, I'm gonna tweet about this today. I think because I'm probably gonna lose my Twitter account today. I'm sorry. Anyway, number 4, Monday motivation. Top Monday motivation from Alana Stewart. Whenever thoughts of not enough arise, I stop and change my thinking. I affirm I am part of God's abundant life. I give thanks for my life, the clothes I wear, the air I breathe, my friends. My blessings are countless. I wish everyone thought that way. And I don't necessarily, even if you're not a God person, a theist or any of the religions, that's a good, that's a pretty good motivational thing. You know, your blessings are countless, whether or not they're blessings from a higher power. Oh my God, Justin Trudeau on Monday Motivation. You deserve a team that listens to you, cares about you, and fights for you. That's why I got into politics in the first place. You are my Monday motivation. I'm laughing because, did anyone bring a little extra shoe polish for Justin there? Sorry. Anyway, okay, that's enough Monday motivation. Let's move on. Number 3, there's some shit going on in DC. Shut down DC. See, the climate kids on Friday inspired a bunch of more assholes to shut down traffic in DC. So they're fucking up traffic all over the place. And DC's out of your cars, into the street. Shut down DC for a Green New Deal. This is a climate emergency. So they all drove down there to protest in DC for a climate emergency. This is some of the pictures. So they're shutting down different streets, and in some places the police are getting involved. Oh, there's Medea Benjamin, Code Pink, famous from Code Pink. Of course she's part of this. You know, a funny thing I've also been hearing a lot lately is they talking about how, you know, Jeff Bezos is so rich or whatever, and that he could give each of his employees $250,000 a piece and still be a billionaire. Yeah, sure, he would have to shut down his business to do it because he'd have to liquidate all of his assets. Just because he's worth X number of $1 billion doesn't mean he has that much cash on hand, you fucking morons. That means that's what his total assets of business are worth. Okay? So in order to give his entire employees $250,000 a piece, he'd have to liquidate his business, and then he'd be worth almost nothing. Shut the fuck up. All right, peak white privilege is parking your boat in the middle of a busy DC intersection. With banners and a boat, shut down DC. Climate activists are blocking DC intersections. I'm sure that all the rich people in DC can work around that, and maybe even the ones in the kind of the middle class who can maybe work from home or whatever. And the politicians probably don't give a fuck. But I bet you all those poor and struggling DC people who actually need to work at their job during the day and probably doesn't want to have a shift off, you're probably hurting those people a little bit, you morons. And guess what? Some of them might even get fired for not showing up to work because you blocked the intersection that they need to get to their job, or they got docked pay for being late. So way to go, shut down DC. Shut down DC's folks are providing excellent proof for my thesis. Opinion: environmentalists will make good movie villains because, okay, yes, I don't know. Was it, what's his name? Thanos? Thanos was kind of an environmentalist, wasn't he? He thought there were too many beings in the world, so he destroyed half of them. Yeah, that's kind of what stop having kids, or we need to kill people or have fewer people. Yeah, isn't that they all want to be Thanos, don't they? Just saying. Monday morning is number 6. Skipping it. Happy Falls number 7. More first day of autumn pictures. Hey, it's still right here. There you go. Official first day of fall. Same photo, same GIF of the beautiful changing of the leaves. Happy first. Okay, because was it what? First what? Oh, good morning, y'all. Happy first day of fall. It's officially the best season of the year. Yeah, you know what? It's time to start carving pumpkins. I'm going to do another pumpkin carving video this year. If you haven't seen my pumpkin carving video, that's on my other channel, which is Marty's Big Journey on YouTube. I did a real nice pumpkin carving video. This year I'm going to carve some more, and I had some fun with that last year. All right, moving on. Unlike Ogler, what the hell is that? Is this something I care about? This Philadelphia man helped rescue multiple children from a burning building, and even in his moment of glory on TV, his frustration as an Eagles fan come out. My man was just throwing babies out of the window, and he was catching them, unlike Agholor. Oh, did the Eagle receiver miss a pass or something? Oh my God, listen to this.
And assisting people down. My man was hanging out the window, screaming that his kids was in there and things like that. So I ran to the back door, see if it was open, and it was. I ran upstairs, and then I was greeted with smoke. I ran back downstairs. By that time, the ladder truck was pulling up, and ironically, one of my old co-workers took the ladder off the truck, raised it up, and was assisting people down. My man just started throwing babies out the window. Wow. We was catching them, unlike Aguilar.
Oh my gosh, he said that in the middle of a thing about fire. That's Agholor. Okay, well, there you go. Oh my God, Eagles fans are brutal. They are brutal. Okay, moving on. A lot of stuff about autumn. Thomas Cook is trending. Travel company Thomas Cook ceases trading with immediate effect. Let's see here. Tour operator and airline Thomas Cook UK has canceled all flights and holidays after it announced its collapse into administration. So the Thomas Cook Airlines is going down. Hundreds of thousands of travelers are facing a nightmare scenario this week with the collapse of tour operator Thomas Cook, leaving them stranded abroad. All flights and vacations booked through the company have been canceled. Wow, that sucks for anyone who's in the middle of their vacation or hasn't taken their vacation yet and already paid for it. It'll be interesting. The demise of Thomas Cook has been devastating for many, but this is a lovely story. Well, let's hear this lovely story. Let's read I just landed in Manchester from Vegas. I wasn't flying with Thomas Cook. The staff told us mid-flight that they'd just been told halfway through the flight that they were on the last Thomas Cook flight anywhere. They had lost their jobs and would not be getting paid this month. They were all in tears. Soon as we landed, a Scottish girl stands up. Right, folks? I'm having a whip around, get your money out, 20 pounds each. And if that's not the most Scottish saying I don't know what is. It was a joyful moment. 5,000 pounds apparently. So they collected 5,000 pounds for the flight crew. Wow, that's a nice story. All right, good for that young lady. All right, so let's see what else. I think everything else is about fall. Happy autumn equinox, first day of autumn. Frozen 2, the new Frozen 2 trailer shows the darker side of Arendelle. I'm one of those people that I had never seen Frozen. My daughter and my wife went to Frozen the musical. I've never seen Frozen. I should probably watch that. My kid. It was like kind of at the trail end of when my kids were watching animated movies, like Disney movies and shit like that. So my daughter's seen it. I don't know if my son's seen it. We never bought it. We used to buy every Disney movie on DVD, but we stopped doing that too. So I haven't seen Frozen 1, so I could care less about Frozen 2. Anyone a Frozen 2 fan or Frozen fan? I don't know. Is it a preachy or what is it? I don't know. Monday thoughts, Monday moods, 15 to 16. Climate Action Summit. Uh-oh. Climate Action. Oh my God, Bruce. Oh my God, I feel old. Hold on. Let's do Climate Action Summit first. World leaders have gathered at the UN Climate Summit to discuss solutions for combating emissions and global warming. Hey, I got an idea. Why don't everybody follow the lead of the United States, who's reduced its emissions by 20% over the last 10 years. Like that, better than what they wanted us to do for the Paris Accords, although there's a target date too. Let's see how we can stop the increasing emissions in China and India. I bet that's not going to be one of the solutions they come up with, is it? I'm almost positive. All right. Oh yeah, Breaking Bad sequel. Yeah, there's a trailer out for that too. Yeah, that entire movie apparently was filmed in secret. Nobody knew about it until the guy who plays Saul, Better Call Saul, told the press that we've made a Breaking Bad movie. It's going to come out soon. I already live in Frozen. That's funny. You're funny, Sheagrath. You're funny. I'm going to give you a bell for that. That was funny, actually. All right. You and climate change. We are at the beginning of mass extinction. See what I'm talking about? It's the language of panic and fear that they're using. She's saying we're at the beginning of mass extinction, and all you can do is talk about eternal economic growth, according to Greta Thunberg, making a passionate plea for climate action at today's Climate Action Summit in New York. Why is this child even talking? She has no. She's regurgitating talking points made by other people who want your money, who want to figure out how they can tax you out of climate change. I don't have ill will towards her. I have ill will towards the people who are propping her up to be the human shield. God, I hate these people. Unbelievable. We're not on the brink of extinction. Sorry. Humans are innovative. Humans solve everything. Of course, we fixed the ozone layer, right? Oh, wait. That ozone hole, that there's ozone holes all the time, opening and closing after they figured it out, probably wasn't the chlorofluorocarbons or the freon that was causing it. Dumbasses. All right. What else? And the last one, but not least, let's make all of us feel old if you're a Bruce Springsteen fan. Bruce Springsteen turns 70 years old today. Happy 70th birthday, Bruce Springsteen. Thank you for your powerful influence with your songs of world brokenness, harsh life trials and passionate emotions, untiring hope and love. You are the rock icon who uplifted and inspired many people in this dark world. Yeah, and made millions of dollars doing it. So, now Bruce is, I enjoy his music, but I'm tired of his preaching. I really am. You know what, Bruce, you're one dude, you're talented, you made some great music. Happy birthday, sir. And tip one for the memory of Clarence Clements, too, his right-hand man and longtime collaborator and band member, who was one of my favorite musicians around. So funny, I had a buddy in high school. I played tenor sax in high school. I played saxophone. I played several instruments actually, but tenor sax was my favorite because I played it in jazz band and sat next to a dude. My Barry sax guy also played guitar, and we always used to take pictures of us looking like Bruce Springsteen and Clarence Clements because that was just a fun thing. But he was a huge Bruce fan. So happy birthday, Bruce Springsteen. And that's going to end the show today. Thank you, people, for being here on the Morning Night Live. We're here Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. If you haven't already done so, please hit that like button. If you haven't, if there's more people here than the like button's been hit, something's wrong. Hit the like button on your way out. Also, share on your way out. Also, thank you for I didn't have any today, but thank you for the people who do super chats and donations during the week. I got to change my donation line up there on the outro because there's been some different people who did it the last 30 days. I tried. If you haven't noticed, I try to keep the people who have been who've done donations or super chats for the last 30 days on the end of my outro. So if you haven't noticed that, that's where I try to thank everybody. So thanks to those people especially, but actually thanks all of you for being here every day. I hope you had fun. We got to go. My name is Dawg Knight, and I am Out of here. Bye-bye. Hey, this is Dawg Knight, and I want to thank you for joining me today on the Dawg Knight channel. Before you go, if you like what you saw and you're not already subscribed, please make sure that you hit the subscribe button down below, and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central, and 2 p.m. GMT. A special thanks to all supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through our Streamlabs link in the description below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm Dawg Knight, and I'm out of here.